in Australia, we have a saying that we like using called, you're being a sukilala. And I want to confess that I was being a sukilala. So last year, April, I was meant to be traveling to Istanbul in Turkey. And well, you know where this is going. It was canceled, unfortunately. One of the things that I love doing when I'm ever in a city, and I do this in advance, so I do a lot of research, I have a look at what amazing perfume houses exist in that city because I like buying from that location. I love thinking to myself, I bought this in Florence, Paris, you know, and it's not so much to say I bought all these in these wonderful places around the world, but it's more that when I pick up that fragrance and I spray it, I'm like, oh, remember it was a sunny day, or it was this, or we just did that. And so I did my research, and the house of Nishane is Turkey's first niche perfume house, and I was so excited to go into their main store in Istanbul and explore this wonderful, you know, occasion. Well, the trip had to be canceled, and in the end I couldn't get to Turkey, so I'm like, well, I'm not going to buy any Nishanes because until I get to Turkey, I was being a fool. Let me just tell you this house is next level amazing. If you're new to my channel, I would love you to subscribe. The Niche Fragrance Collector is all about amazing perfumes from around the world. So back to this. I was being foolish, and I get it, because here I am, I'm being a little bit, like I said, a sukilala, because at the end of the day, here's a house, and I want to talk about, there's two parts that I want to talk about today. One is obviously the fragrance Hacivat and how amazing it is, but also on the house of Nishane. This is an exceptional house with a very diverse range of fragrances, and I've got a few in the collection now. Like I said, I put that behind me. When I get to Turkey, or eventually when I get to Istanbul, I'm sure there'll be new ones that I can add to the collection. This one here is one of my favorites, and I'm so glad. Unfortunately, what I should have done is I should have bought this during our summer here, because I think this over summer would just be such an amazing fragrance. But I got it over our winter period. Having said that, even over our winter period, this fragrance is amazing. And I'm going to say that for being that it's playing so well over winter, this on summer or on a summery spring day, which we're coming into now, this is going to be amazing. I can already feel it. So now, okay, opening, there it is. It's so spectacular, this fragrance. Now, before, I'm going to dispel one thing. A lot of people saying that the Hacivat is the aventus killer, or it's the new aventus king. It's similar, but not the same. When they dry down, they go into two different directions. So on opening, you're getting the pineapple, hello, aventus, you're getting the pineapple, bergamot, and grapefruit. But for me, and this is the interesting, it's, see, Elysium by Roger Dove has also that grapefruit opening. And so for me, I'm getting a little bit of like, almost like an Elysium opening, but I'm also getting that aventus opening too. In the heart, you're looking at jasmine, patchouli, and also cedarwood. And for me, the patchouli, there's a muskiness in there. It's actually, I almost feel like, for those who are familiar with psychedelic, it has that kind of patchouli. It's musky, but it doesn't dry down into that sort of more heavier notes because of the citrus that is still there, and that grapefruit for me is playing throughout the fragrance. Finally, in the base, you're looking at woody notes and oak moss. I sprayed it earlier today, so before starting here, I kept smelling my top and smelling sort of the fragrance on my actual body itself. And I'm getting a mixture between the citrus opening and that patchouli heart, or that patchouli component of it. The woods are in there. The longevity on this guy, it's an extrait de parfum, so it does have some wonderful longevity to the fragrance. And the other thing about this too, that its projection is phenomenal. I'm talking spectacular. So it has a very full, beautiful trail. I wore it recently, a few days ago, and I walked into the room, and it actually, the fragrance preceded me, because I had a person who was probably about 5-6 meters away from me, and they turned to me and they're like, man, you smell good. It does fall in the woods category. However, because of those early citrus notes, it does have a slight aromatic, it's a fresh, As I said, I believe during summer, this fragrance, when you start sweating and you're mixing your own body chemistry with the actual fragrance, I think it's going to be absolutely spectacular. I've worn it over winter, really, really enjoying it over the colder months. Now, my wife doesn't love it as much, and it made me a bit sad, I have to be honest, because I'm a huge fan. I'm always wearing it, or have been wearing it quite often. And I think it's because she's not a big patchouli fan. I'm gonna say that maybe that muskiness in the patchouli, and I think maybe she's picking up on that. Having said that though, everyone else in my family, so all the men, I've given them all samples. I was fortunate to have a collection of samples of Hacivat. I distributed amongst the boys, to the point that my daughter, her husband, he's an Englishman. And up until now, not that Englishman are like this, but this is how this Englishman is. He uses a word called not bothered. And he says it like that, I'm not bothered. And so perfume for him, he was never bothered. So I'd say, try this fragrance, and he'd be like, oh, I'm not bothered. He loves Hacivat, all right, to the point that my daughter, she's harassing me. Do you have any more samples? Do you have any more of the Hacivat samples? So, he's definitely converted to this particular fragrance, and he has access to aventus and everything else, and yet Hacivat is definitely the winner for him. If you like the thought of Hacivat or even the Nishane range, I'm really excited to announce that Fragrance Artisans, a new website here in Australia, are supporting the Niche Fragrance Collector. If you use the code NFC5, you can get 5% across their whole fragrance range, which is pretty exciting. Have a look at what they've got. They've got a huge and awesome collection. Naso Matos, Orto Parisi, the Parle Moi fragrances. So they're very, very extensive. You don't have to travel to Istanbul because they have the full, but let me just say this, sorry. If you have the opportunity to go to Istanbul, go to Istanbul. But in the meantime, you can go to their website because they have a fairly extensive range of all the Nishanes in their collection. Thank you, everyone. If you enjoyed that, leave some comments. Tell me if you've experienced Hacivat. What are your thoughts? How does it compare against maybe some of those other aromatic fragrances that are out there? Thanks, everyone. We'll see you on the next episode.